Today I have to migrate a site from one hosting account to another. The method I prefer now is using Updraft Plus. It's a backup plugin, but it also does migrations as well. I've migrated multi-sites using this plugin mostly, but today it's a single site, but it does have a lot of plugins, including a language one. So I'm going to do a test and see how this goes. The WordPress install is also on a subdirectory of the hosting account that it's coming from, and I'm migrating it to its own single cPanel. So if you haven't heard of Updraft Plus, it's basically a premium plugin, and it's the only one I would recommend for WordPress for backups at this point. I've tried a number of free plugins for backups, and they've all sort of failed. So this is one I trust now, and it also has a lot of really good features like the migration that I'm going to show you today. You can go from your local host, development host, to a live server with this through the migration process. Okay, so what you are going to need is an Updraft Plus. You're going to need two hosting accounts, where the original website is located, with Updraft Plus installed, and that's what I have here. This is the dashboard, and under settings, this is where Updraft lives, which is really nice that it's under settings as opposed to creating its own menu item, which a lot of plugins tend to do. That's one of the things I really like about this, is that it stays underneath the settings and keeps things clean. So under settings, we're going to want to basically check all the files on the website and make a backup. So let's try this right here, backup. And I'm just going to name this. You can see here that there actually is a clone migrate tab. I like just making a backup before I do anything at all, so I have the entire website backed up safely to the cloud, to my Dropbox. Now the next step you're going to want to do is go to your receiving host. So I've created, this is where the website is going right now, and if we go to the homepage, basically it's just the IP address and the hosting account, and this is the directory here. We have to install WordPress on this account, as well as upload the Updraft plugin to that account. So you're probably familiar with doing a WordPress install. If you're not, you're going to get to see it again. So we're just going to go to the hosting account here. This is it. And I'm just going to upload the WordPress zip folder here. Now I noticed here, if we go to wordpress.org, I noticed that they just updated to 4.4, and the hosting, or the one that the website is actually on 4.3.1. I'm not going to update the website because that's not what I'm doing today. So, but I do need an older version of WordPress, which you can find under the release archive, and this is the latest one, and this is the one I need. So you can just download a zip file, which I have done already. So I'm just going to choose my file, which is the WordPress version, and it's going to upload. Okay, so once that's done, you can just refresh your folder here and unzip that. Now it's going to be a folder. Delete that. Well, I'll just wait for a second. We don't want it in a folder. We actually want it outside of there. So you can just move all these to the public HTML, unless you want to install it in a subfolder. So this is gone. The next thing you want to do is create a database. So under Database Wizard, I really don't recommend using the Fantastico install or anything like that. It's better to really do this manually. Okay, and you can grant that user all privileges. All right, now we're going back to home. So if we go back to File Manager, what we need to do is create a WordPress config file. Now I'm just going to do something fairly simple. I'm just going to use the one that I had previously. So I'm just going to upload that file here. Okay, so now that we have the WP config file, it's just a matter of going through the setup here. Keep that password. And install WordPress. Okay, I'm going to log in and we're going to put Updraft Plus on there. So under plugins, install Updraft Plus. Okay, and you can activate the plugin once it's uploaded. Go to the settings, and we're going to connect to our account so we can use all the features. Okay, we're going to activate it. Okay, so we're going to want to clone and migrate this site. We're going to do the instructions are here, but I'm basically going to show you how to receive a backup from a remote site. We're going to have to create a key, name the key, that's fine, just the general one. And we're going to copy and paste this key into the original site. So this is the site we're going to be migrating to, and we go to the old site here, and under Settings, Updraft Backups, under the Clone and Migration tab, we're going to send a backup to another site. That's the key there. We're going to add the site, and it's going to tell us it was successfully added for sending backups to this website. So we're going to send it to this place. So here we go. We're just going to send it off. There's one thing I do recommend. It's going to ask us, they're going to test the connection, make sure it does, is do the upload separately. It's going to do everything except for the uploads, because depending on the client, they may have like 10 gigabytes worth of uploads in there or something like that. I like to just upload these separately, just to speed things up, because the whole site will work. You just won't have the images or the PDFs in it, which isn't such a big deal. And we can also send a version of this to the storage location. So send. Now it's going to back up. This might take 5 or 10 minutes, depending on the size of your plugins folder. I think this one is pretty big, so I'm just going to pause it. What we're going to do once we've done this is go back to our new website where this is going to be going, and we're going to refresh this. Okay, so once the backup is finalized on the original website, if we go to the receiving website, you'll see that there's actually a backup available. So what we basically want to do is it's a very simple process. There's the whole website minus the uploads folder. We just want to restore it into this account here. So by pressing the restore button, it basically will replace all the themes, plugins, uploads, and database and other content. So we want to check everything. We don't want to overwrite the WP config because we've basically brought this one over ourselves. And we've added the new database info on the WP config. So don't overwrite that. And this is something else I like to do because I'm going to turn it back to the original domain name afterwards. I want to do a search and replace it with this so I can go ahead and test everything and make sure it's good. And then come back and do another search and replace with the final domain name. Now, this option here is optional. If you don't check it, it's going to leave everything exactly the same as the original domain name. And you can just change your DNS settings to the new hosting account, your NS1 and NS2 servers, name servers. You can change, and then everything should be fine. But I just like to double check everything, so I'm going to do a search and replace, and we're going to restore it. It's going to go through the process. Restore. So it's checking everything. It's going through the whole process, unpacking the plugins, plugging the database. Now this will take a few minutes, and it takes even longer if you have the uploads folder. So I really suggest just letting it go through without the uploads folder. So the restore was successful. So let's check it out. We have our dashboard. If we just refresh this. Login. Now it's going to be the old user login information. That is replaced. So obviously I don't have that. Okay, so now we're back in the dashboard of the new hosting account. And if we visit the website, everything will be there minus the uploads folder. So that's the next step, is just to bring over the images. See, all the images are missing, so we'll go do that now. So it's on HostGator and the uploads. We'll just compress that on the original hosting account. So in the end, the uploads folder wasn't very big. We could have done it in the migration as well. Not a big deal. Now this is the new account. You can see here under content. Basically, we have all the information. We just need our uploads folder. There's that one. Now it looks like this is the old, this is the ones that were there just with the install. So you can take these out. Basically Updraft just moved them to the side and gave them a different language or a different name named old. If I refresh this, we should have the uploads folder. So I'm just going to delete that one and extract this one. So there's all our old ones. And if we come back to the website now, everything should be there. So there's our images. Check out our website. Just go around through some of the pages. Make sure it flips over to French. Yeah, well, their French side isn't finished. But anyway, there we go. So it looks looking good. So the last thing to do would be to just redirect your domain name to the new hosting account. Now, I don't have access right now to their domain name registrar, so that's what I will ask for their permission first to go in and have them update their name servers. But now that I know that this is working, we don't want to leave it like this, because when it does redirect, it'll flip over and it will still work. The domain name's just pointing to this kind of awful URL. So let's finish this off. Okay, so now that we've checked everything and everything looks good, the last step is to replace the URL to the original ones, because when we go back to the domain name or the registrar for the domain name and change the name servers to the new host, we don't want it to flip over to this when the name change does take place, or the name server change does take place, which can take up to 24 hours. So Updraft Backup and Restore does have under Advanced Tools something called Search and Replace Database, but like they said, this can easily destroy your site. Use it with care. Not too interested in using this one. This is good for little words, but I would not recommend it for changing the URL here. Instead, let's just make a little backup here. Backup now. We really just need our database. So at least we have this URL saved. Now the thing I do recommend for doing a search and replace the database is the Interconnect IT search and replace script. You can download it here. Use the stable version. Don't use the 3.1. So how to use this? First of all, like I said, download it and come to your new hosting panel. And let's go to the public HTML. Okay, so that's complete. I'm going to bring it out of here and bring it to the public directory. I'll pre-populate database. Continue. Here we are. Search for. Well, this is the string we're going to look for, which is our current URL. And we're going to take the old URL, or actually the correct URL. And I'd like to just remove the last / on each one, and we're going to submit the search string. Now we've already made a backup, so we're kind of safe here. So it's gonna, are you really want to do this? Because it could mess things up. Okay, so it's the process. It scanned 42 tables. of 9,515 rows, 141 cells were changed, and 141 database updates were performed. Now, the fun part is we can't get to our website because all the URLs have changed. We're taken back to the old website. Anyway, it's all set to go. Now that once we change the name servers on the domain name, our hosting account will be ready to go. So that's it. That's how we migrate a website from host to host. It doesn't take too long, depending on the size of the website you're moving. So I do recommend using the Updraft Plus, as well as when you're really final using it, is the this interconnect update script. So make sure you go back into your hosting account and delete these. Actually, I'll go up one level. Remove this folder and remove this script. So that's it. Thanks for putting up with my ums and ahs, and hope that tutorial wasn't too boring for you, but I think it will help out a lot of people who need to migrate from one hosting account to another. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.